Okay, so the idea here is this. If you read Homer, the Iliad, the Odyssey, if you read Dante, the Divine Comedy, if you read any of the great books, you will see the divine spark reflected in you, okay? These great books are a portal into the divine. The problem, though, is most people cannot read the Iliad or the Divine Comedy, okay? So the question then is, what do the common people do? And the answer is, Jesus is a portal into the divine, right? So if you just remember the life of Jesus, if you just recite his sayings, that will give you access to the divine. That will remind you of who you are. So yes, Homer and Dante are great. I love Homer and Dante, but you have to be very educated in order to read Homer and Dante well. Whereas Jesus, anyone can know the story of Jesus. Anyone can say what he says, and then that will give you access to the divine, okay? So Jesus is really about the democratization of the divine, okay? Jesus allows anyone to access the divine, whereas before, you had to access the divine through poetry, okay? All right, so the life of Jesus, okay, so again, Jesus is Jewish. So the center of Jewish life is Jerusalem, okay? Right here, Jerusalem. And in the center of Jerusalem is a temple, which was rebuilt under the Persians, right? And Herod will rebuild this, will renovate this, okay? So we know that Jesus was born in this area, Galilee. As you can see, Galilee is by the coast, which makes this region extremely cosmopolitan. So from an early age, Jesus is experiencing different religions, different cultures. Hinduism, Zoroastrianism, Judaism, okay? All right, so this is an AI depiction of the crucifixion of Jesus. Jesus is in the middle. And as you can see, it is a brutal event. Okay, so we don't know much about Jesus. We only know Jesus from the Bible. Then in 1945, in a place called Nag Hammadi, okay, this is in Egypt, we discovered lots of books with sayings of Jesus that we didn't know existed before. So what's important to understand is that after Jesus died, there were many different sects of Christianity that believed different things, and they argued with each other, and ultimately, it was the Catholic Church who won. Why? Because the Catholic Church is run by the Roman Empire, okay? So one major book that was discovered in 1945 in Nag Hammadi that was lost to us is called the Gospel of Thomas. And what I believe is the Gospel of Thomas records the true teachings of Jesus, okay? So the idea of intoxicated. We're here and we're just drunk, but we are not thirsty for the truth. We're happy for the way it is, okay? All right, and this idea is mirrored in a poem that we read before by Rumi, right? So you may remember Rumi, the Persian poet. He also says this: the world that we live in is a prison for drunks. Okay, so I'm pretty sure Rumi did not read Jesus' Gospel of Thomas. Okay? But they're able to think the same thoughts because they're all being inspired by the same source. Does that make sense? All right, continue, please.
Jesus said, "The Pharisees and the scribes have taken the keys of knowledge." This is
Gnosis. Gnosis just means knowledge, okay?
And hidden them. They themselves have not entered, nor have they allowed to enter those who wish to. You, however, be as wise as serpents and as innocent as doves.
Okay, so Jesus hates organized religion. Okay, the Pharisees, remember, are Jewish priests, Jewish leaders, and they create a hierarchy of religion where they say to people, "Only I know the truth. Only I have knowledge. So listen to me." And what Jesus is saying is, they themselves are ignorant because you cannot access knowledge through hierarchy. okay, through oppressing other people. You can only access knowledge by looking into yourself. So you have to become like the serpent and pretend you don't know anything in order to access knowledge yourself, because otherwise, if you are capable of accessing knowledge, then the priest will see it as a threat and they will kill you. All right? And the serpent, remember, it was a serpent who told Eve to eat from the fruit. And so what Jesus is saying is, it is good and natural to seek knowledge, even if it means disobeying God. Okay? That's what we're meant to do here, to seek knowledge, to seek the truth, to seek love. If the priests stop you from doing so, it's because they're evil. All right? Because remember, the true God, the monad, is pure love, pure compassion, pure forgiveness. He can do no wrong. He's perfection. And if you have the desire to seek knowledge and you believe that knowledge makes you a happier, more fulfilled person, then you should seek knowledge, even if God tells you don't do so. Because if that God tells you don't do so, it means he's a false God. Okay? Keep on going.
Jesus said, "Whoever has come to understand the world has found only a corpse, and whoever has found a corpse is superior to the world."
Okay, so this is what's going to get Jesus in trouble, right? He's saying the Roman Empire, this great empire that you've built that ranges across the Mediterranean, it's a corpse. It's dying. It's dead. It's nothing. All right? And once you recognize this, once you refuse to comply, once you refuse to obey, they have no power over you, right? And so that's a threat to power. That's a threat to the Roman Empire. Keep on going.
Jesus said, "The kingdom is like a shepherd who had a 100 sheep. One of them, the largest, went astray. He left the 99 sheep and looked for that one until he found it. When he had gone to such trouble, he said to the sheep, 'I care for you more than the 99.'"
Okay, so God, the true God, does not want obedience. He wants us to be creative. He wants us to seek knowledge. He wants us to discover. He wants us to explore. He wants us to try new things. And if we do this, he cares for us than those who obey him. Because those who obey him, those who do nothing, contribute nothing to the universe. Okay? When we love, when we imagine we are making the universe a brighter place, we are shining our light. When we just sit back and just do what we're told, we're doing nothing, okay? We're like NPCs. Do you guys know NPCs? Non-playable characters in a video game, okay? We don't exist. All right, keep on going.
Jesus said, "A man had received visitors, and when he had prepared the dinner, he sent his servant to invite the guests. He went to the first one and said to him, 'My master invites you,' he said. 'I have claimed against some merchants. They are coming to me this evening. I must go and give them my orders. I ask to be excused from the dinner.' He went to another and said to him, 'My master has invited you,' he said to him. 'I have just bought a house and am required for the day. I shall not have any spare time.' He went to another and said to him, 'My master invites you,' he said to him. 'My friend is going to get married, and I am to prepare the banquet. I shall not be able to come. I ask to be excused from the dinner.' He went to another and said to him, 'My master invites you,' he said to him. 'I have just bought a farm, and I am on my way to collect the rent. I shall not be able to come. I ask to be excused.' The servant returned and said to his master, 'Those whom you invited to the dinner have asked to be excused.' The master said to his servant, 'Go outside to the streets and bring back those whom you happen to meet, so that they may dine. Businessmen and merchants will not enter the places of my Father.'" Okay,
so again, this goes against the empire. What Jesus is saying is the worst people in this world are the rich people. Okay, think about today how we're supposed to worship Elon Musk, right? Because he's rich. What Jesus is saying is, no, Elon Musk is the worst person in the world. Why? Because the divine, the monad, has prepared a great feast for us. When we die, when we go to the monad, we will experience the greatest happiness, the greatest joy. Okay, the monad's inviting us. But the business people are saying, no, I'm too busy. I'm too busy making money. I'm too busy doing evil in this world, so I don't want to go to the stupid feast. So they're the ones who will lose out in the end, even though today we think they've won out. Okay? So that's what Jesus is saying. Jesus is like, don't worry about the rich and the powerful. They may look happy, but they're not. At the end of days, when we all go back to the monad, we all go back to the vine, they're the ones who will not be invited to the grand feast. Yeah?
I have a question that God led us to be creative and like do our thing that we want to do, like seek for the spark. But since we are born, how can we really know the things that what we want to do? I think that requires socialization between other people. But if you socialize, they will brainwash you and affect to let you to seek for materialism.
Yeah, okay. That's a great question. And it's a problem, right? Because as you say, your parents, the school, society brainwashes you to believe that only money matters, only grades matter. Okay? And the answer is you have to be brave. You have to be true to yourself. Because you yourself know what is true, right? If we didn't know, then Jesus would not matter. What if 2 billion people believe in Jesus? Because they know that Jesus spoke the truth. Okay? So listen to your heart. I know it's hard, and most of us cannot do it. Okay? And that's why in many traditions, like Buddhism and Hinduism, reincarnation is important. Because maybe in this lifetime we don't figure it out, maybe in the next lifetime. But maybe then, 50 lifetimes away. But eventually you'll figure it out. Eventually you'll figure out that what other people say does not matter because this world we live in is a false world. Eventually you'll figure that out. And then you're like, you know what I should do? I should do what I believe to be true. And then what you recognize is, oh, when I actually do what I like, what I enjoy, it makes me a more fulfilled person. And guess what? It connects me to the vine. Okay? I am a much more spiritual person now. And you can know because look at people's faces, right? When you meet a rich person, his face is kind of, evil. When you meet a person who's generous, who volunteers his time, who is a good teacher, his face is different, okay? So remember Achilles. When you do evil, evil comes into you and it corrupts your soul. When you do good, good comes to you and it brightens your soul and you brighten the world with it, okay?
But without education and socialization, if we are an infant, how do we know what is right or wrong and what should we seek for?
Because of the spark in you, right? Because of the spark in you. You know when it glows. When you love someone and that person loves you back, your spark glows. When you become a teacher and you teach students and your students learn well, your spark glows.